You ever drop a song and feel like nobody really heard it? No comments, no support, just silence. Uploaded, forgotten. Streaming numbers don't mean nothing. But what if there was a place built different? Where artists don't get buried, they battle.
Start with me to ask questions if there is any questions so that we can get a clear, concise knowledge of how to run a stream on your nights that you're doing either a podcast or a musical show or whatever we may have. So obviously the first thing is that we got to see what we're working with. So this is going to look weird just because that's how it looks on here. But whenever you start, you're going to come into your login page. It's going to have you as host, not guest. And when you have that, you just log in. You can put your little tagline underneath your name. And once you get in, you're going to have a set of different streams that you can have. And you're going to want to pick whether you're doing a podcast or if you're doing a live stream. You can pick from any of those three. Then you come in, you're going to have this setup. Basically, it's going to start with being at the top, and it's not going to have anything that you can actually see. You're going to need to select from where it says SFR main. Once you get into media assets, you're going to have this line up here that says podcast right here. And then when you click down on it, you're going to have these 10 options. Now, unfortunately, we can only have 10 options. So you can either choose from SFR main or podcast, or if you already have a show in here, then you can choose from one of your shows. Once you've gotten that set up, you're already in media, so you can go ahead and slide down here. You're going to want to choose your intro, your outro video. Once you click that, you're going to get this little window right here. And from this window, you're going to be able to select whichever one you want. If you're not sure, you can come over here and you can select the different ones and play them and see which one you want to choose. It's going to be specifically under video clips. It's not going to be anywhere else. Your backgrounds are down here, so you want to choose your background. Like I made this background today so that people can see, training, yada, yada, yada. Once you have that done, you get down, and that's all you have to do for the setup. Once you do that, it's going to see over here where it says in stream right now, it's going to have a blue button that says create. Once you create, you're then going to get this box right here. Now, normally what we do is we select OGP Swain, Noe Boys, Rebecca Mills, mine. Not sure if Forge is doing his yet, but if he is, then you also select Forge and then the OGP Swain Twitch stream. You want to put in your description of what it is, the title. Then you scroll down here and you can put in a description. You can upload a thumbnail. And then you want to choose this will already be public. You can choose your category. And then down here, you click the schedule for later and then the time that your stream is going to be, which as you can see down here, I have today at 12. Then you click Save Changes. Whenever you're doing this, make sure that you click OGP Swain first. Fill everything out. Once you get everything filled out, come back up here and then select your different streams. Otherwise, you're going to be typing that for every single one. But if you select SFR Swain first, then you fill everything out and then you select the other ones, it auto-populates so you don't have to be sitting there typing constantly. Once you have that saved, you're going to see up here in the upper right hand corner, you're going to see these pop up and they're going to populate. And then if it's within an hour of the show, you'll see a little timer counting down until the live stream is ready. Comments. Hi, James. You could actually pop into the stream. I think I can send you a link if you want. It's a normal one, as you can see up here. But staying in media assets, the only other item that you would want to deal with is you've got your applause, all these right here that you can play with whenever you're in your live stream. Like whenever somebody's song finishes, of course you want to hit the applause intent so that it applauds their effort and their song. For the banner at the bottom, you have multiple ones that you can choose from. Please do not edit any of the ones that have already slotted for different shows, because those are the ones that they select every week. You can change the colors going into style, and you can change your color to whatever color you'd like. Pretty much all that's pretty self-explanatory. If you need to keep notes for what you're doing, you can put them into the notes. And then the only other option is the private chat, where you can actually come in here and talk with the other people who are in the show. Those will not show up here where James is, but if you only want to talk to one channel, like your channel or whatever, then you can select your different streams that you can chat on. Of course, you want to pick OGP Swain, but keep in mind that when you do that, you're going to be talking to people and replying to people as OGP Swain. You can go up here, you can show your comments. If the comments are not showing up very well, you can change them to wide and medium, and then that's going to make the comment show up a little bit bigger on the screen. So you can do it that way. You can also go big if you want to go really big, but usually that blocks people's portraits, so I try to stay away from that. And I think that's about it, unless anybody has any questions. That's the basics.
Okay. OGP Swain, it said that you were doing multiple shows this week.
Yeah.
Are you touching base more in depth on other ones?
Yeah. Today's basic overrun. Tomorrow I'm going to be going through individual items until I get this entire list done. And this entire list will be covering the professional broadcast, going live with confidence, the multi-guest management, and all that. Like, for example, when you're setting up a professional broadcast, you really want to get in at least half an hour to an hour before the actual live stream. That way you can actually come into the media assets, and it's like you're doing music like you do with Nova Star on his days. You need to come in here, you need to go to the videos, not the backgrounds, but the videos, and you hit more, and then you add your files, and then you can just come in here and you can add your MP4s. Once you add your MP4s, it'll upload them, and that can take up to 5 minutes depending on how many videos you got to upload. You can upload multiple at once, but it's still going to process them one at a time. Same thing with MP3s. You want to go down to the very bottom, and you do the more, and then add music, and they're all right here. Like I said, you can add multiple ones. Keep in mind that MP3 is the only format that the StreamYard will accept. So if you get anything other than MP3, you either need to contact them back or convert it over to an MP3, because it will not do FLAC, VLC, or anything like that.
Great.
Now, if you run out of room for anything, you can always delete some of the personal ones. Like, I don't care if you delete mine. I don't really care.
All right. Perfect.
I think the hard limit on that one is you can only have 100 files uploaded at a time.
Okay.
Per brand.
Yeah.
So Podcast, of course, is going to be a little bit more difficult because podcast covers Kay and Yetta, Tanya and Beth. It covers the mic slam, the mic drop poetry night, and then it also covers the Swain Family Records. The main one actually covers Friday nights talking to the new members, but podcast basically covers all of all of our spoken podcasts. It's not just one, so it covers like 5 during the week, and then Kingdom Sounds has their own Comedy Club, Noe Brothers, Global Sounds, Mayday, Fantasy Fiction, Jamming with Scarlet and Omega, and of course we got Chaos Thursday with Nova Star.
You kind of said it wrong. It's Chaotic Thursday.
Oh, I am so sorry. But somebody wrote it down as Chaos Thursday.
Yeah, it does say Chaos Thursday.
I didn't want to do Chaos Thursday because one of the shows already had Chaos in the name at the time.
Yeah, somebody has Chaos Thursday in there, so I thought that was yours. Might not be though. But other than that, I mean, you pretty much the main thing you want to really take in consideration. I don't know if I can move that. Cool. So this button down here, that allows you to share different screens. So you can click it, and then of course it's right here where it says stop screen. It's actually going to say start, share screen, and then it pops up another window. And of course, if I do that, y'all can't see what I'm doing, so that's not going to be very useful. But when you get in there, make sure that if you're sharing a YouTube link that you have received to where you're playing the YouTube link to play the music, you want to make sure to share the audio. There's a little slider at the very bottom on the right-hand side, and it says share audio. So, of course, I'm not sharing audio on here because if I did, you would hear this horrible echo, and yeah, we don't want that. That's pretty much most of what I've learned, but I will go more in depth on tomorrow on the setting up the professional broadcast, because there is a lot more involved with it. If you're doing a different background, you two know about doing the backgrounds, but not everybody does. And quite honestly, you really want to be able to know how to, create a background like what I have for this stream right now. And then I'm going to get into how to bring your guests in and out. And if you've got multiple guests, like you're only having 2 on the screen at a time, you can have them in the back end. And that's just a matter of coming down here and removing the person, and then you can bring them back in as you need to. But other than that, your comments will persist on the screen until you click it the second time. I always forget that. So if you want the person's comment to stay up for a long time, then yeah, you can click it and just leave it there. What I usually do is to show comments on stage unless we have a full house of 10 people, and then it's just impossible. And then you just want to click it, long enough for somebody to read it and then disappear it. Any other questions? It's hoping to make this at least half an hour long.
I can't come up with one question.
I think I'm good on the questions because this is just the basic setup here. I'll
Yeah.
get with you after this about a couple of questions I do have, so we're not getting into something you're already going to be getting into.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I didn't think about it, but I need to do some screen grabs before the next stream so that I can show each step getting into StreamYard and the actual screen grab of the screen before. That way I can pop those up and show people what they look like.
Yeah. Okay. Like really, I guess really my only question would be, like I said, it's off the topic for today, but as far as screen sharing, the last show I had an issue with sharing the screen. It was really laggy. Um, you had mentioned to me restart my computer and stuff beforehand, and that would probably help that. And that's what I'll try
Yeah.
to do. But like when something like that does happen, I know I kind of asked you before the show a little bit, but when something like that does happen, how do we proceed? What do we do?
Well, unfortunately, it's going to run into multiple factors. Main factor I find that when you're having problems with streaming from YouTube, that's going to absolutely be internet related, and you're going to have to get some of the items off of your network off the network so that you're actually getting your full bandwidth. If you have a low bandwidth, it's going to be very difficult to do. Um, for me specifically, I can't stream. I can't do the StreamYard while I'm out at my house in Weatherford because literally I'm on a 5G network, and the max I'm going to get from that is like 150 megabits per second, and that's just not enough to do the full stream, even with streaming. My suggestion is that there is a website, and I'm going to pop that up, that I use so that I'm not having to stream it from YouTube. And that is the page. And what it does is it allows you to be able to go to YouTube, and let's say that you want to be able to download it like this video. You can go into the video, and then you just copy the page and then paste it into the page. This is the SFR one, and then you hit download. It verifies that it's actually a form, and then it will allow you to download the whole video, and then you can just upload that into StreamYard at that point. And then once you upload it into StreamYard, of course, it's an MP4 at that point, and because it's an MP4, it allows you to be able to stream it across that way instead of having to pull it from YouTube itself.
Okay, well, I guess that answers if it's a YouTube link. But what if, like, let's say it's a Suno link? Um, what would we do then to make that a little easier?
Request the person to download it as an MP3 and send it to you as an MP3. That's going to be your best option.
Okay, all right, that's helpful.
That's why me and Rebecca have come up with the thing that you have to get your song into us by midnight the day before, because if we don't have it by midnight the day before, it puts a lot of stress on the person who's setting up the stream. So for me specifically, I've got to literally run and get everything together and get it up there before the stream occurs, because if I don't, then I'm putting it in there at the last second, and if it's not something I can use, then it's like, oh great, I'm not going to be able to play this song because I can't get to it.
I feel that. Tonight, for example, I've got I'll be co-hosting the comedy club show,
Right.
and I've got 2 songs plus my own in my email box. Everybody wants to wait till those last minutes to get their songs in. Excuse me, I got 3 songs, and then my own.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to wait till those last minutes, and it does make it stressful because, like you said, we're loading it all in last minute.
Yeah.
I like to be ready for what I'm doing. I like to know what I'm doing. I don't want to be rushed.
That's why I'm usually up around, between 10 a.m. and noon every day, even if I was up till 4 a.m. the night before, um, loading stuff in at 10 o'clock in the morning when there's nobody on the StreamYard and I can get the seat for an hour or two and be able to sit there and do it to where I can get it all done, which is why I like to have them in by midnight, because anything that hits my inbox at midnight, I can load in the next morning and I'm not having to rush. Chrissy G is the only other one who asks for it to be in by midnight, just because his stream is at 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
It sounds great. I don't have any other questions.
I'm going to see if I can screen grab this real quick. Yay, I can. So I'm going to share a window. Pink. There. So this is what, when you go to share, looks like. You've got tab, window, entire screen. Of course, Chrome tab is what you really want to do, is when you're doing different things, you've got all your different stuff right here to be able to, I don't know if I'm actually, let's go back here. Yeah, it is. So you can choose the tab that you want to, and when you're choosing the tab that you want to, you just click that tab, and over here is where you've got your also share audio, and you want to click that on, or if it's not on, click it off if you're not wanting to share the audio. But if you're wanting to share the audio, leave it on. Of course, you're going to want to when you're running different uh, music videos from YouTube. Suno, I know you can actually go to the Suno page and you can still do it to where you share it and you play it, but it's a lot easier if you have the MP3, especially if you have a low bandwidth that is allowed and you're not able to actually run the stream by just bringing up a YouTube link. Because if you're trying to share the bandwidth between two different web pages, it can become difficult, especially considering the fact that what most people don't realize about StreamYard is that while it's a platform that streams for you, it's still streaming through your bandwidth, because it's streaming from your computer to StreamYard, and then from StreamYard it goes to the different websites. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
Okay. So depending on how much bandwidth you have, used to be, before my father passed away, he used to do a video conferencing type situation where they would do speeches, and it was called Toastmasters. And if there were more people on the network that were watching videos or doing anything on their computer, playing games, didn't really matter. Him and my mom both were in it, and they would both log in under different computers, which took up a lot of bandwidth. And because it took up a lot of bandwidth, there wasn't a lot left over for anybody else. And if anybody else got on, they would sap the bandwidth from them to where it would start lagging and start glitching out like it does when what we've seen what happens with yours. But I haven't seen that happen lately with yours, so I think you got that solved.
Yeah, I think it was a browser issue. I had been using Opera.
Yeah, that's a big thing. If you're using any other browser besides Edge, Safari, or Chrome, it is going to be a horrible experience for everybody involved.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the issue last week. Yeah, I really like the features of Opera, but I went ahead and uninstalled it, and now using Chrome. And yeah, everything seems to be much smoother now. I don't have any kind of lag on my end as far as viewing or anything where I was having viewing and operating issues previously.
Yeah. So you want to stick to those browsers and those browsers only. Anything other than those, and they just, I know with Opera and Firefox specifically, they both have a built-in virtual private network. And because they have a built-in virtual private network, they will slow down anything coming through. So if you're trying to stream from Opera or Firefox, it's got to go through a VPN, and that VPN could be overseas. So it's got to bounce all the way overseas, come back here, then go back to, out to where it was going. So it's going to cause a lot of lag. And while the VPN is nice, it does definitely cause an issue. And one thing Rebecca does is that Rebecca always has a script, and that comes from her teacher days. Is when she's sitting in front of the class, she will actually have a script either on her phone, on her laptop, sitting up on the Promethean board. Doesn't really matter. She has a script somewhere, and she's going off that script, and that's how she keeps everything flowing perfectly. How she's able to remember everything. Honestly, I need her to sit down with me tonight and help me work out a script for tomorrow. But yeah, that's how you can go live with confidence is to sit there and have scripts so that you have something to read off of, and you don't have to have your camera on, obviously, but you can sit there and read off the script. Once you have the script down, of course, you're not going to need the script anymore, but she's always got the script, and then OGP Swain puts out a flyer every Sunday night showing you everything that's going on that week. So if you don't have the ability to have that up somewhere, what like I did last week for her is that instead of having her read off of the page, I actually put it up on the screen for her to read, and that made it easy for her. The only other thing is go ahead.
Yeah, I know for me personally, like, I got to do everything off the head. A script will just cause me to stutter more. My stutter is here and there. Some days it's bad, and some days it's nearly unnoticeable. But if I'm reading off of a script, that stutter is going to get worse. Um, yeah, on the fly is the way it's got to be for me.
Yeah, I get that, and quite honestly, the biggest problem with me is that I used to do tech support, so I try to not say the and all of that, but you fall back into that habit a lot, and I do it a lot, and I hate it because I sit there and listen to myself, and I'm like, "Geez, I say a lot." Valley Girl, you do need to establish your own account. It is a free account. You don't have to actually have a paid account. So what you do is that you just give Moses the email that you use to sign up for StreamYard. He will send you an email that will say that you've been invited to the team. Matter of fact, let's do this. It'll look exactly like, no, where's my emails? Don't have my email up. No, that's my photos. Interesting.
Okay, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I know you can upload sound effects. How do you do that?
Same way you upload a sound. The only difference is that you're actually going to put it under the let me get to the media assets. You're going to put it under, instead of putting it under background noise, you put it in under sounds.
Okay.
Let's see, share screen, no audio, window, share. So if you look over here, you see the sounds, and then you actually have background music. So you want to upload it to the sounds. Like I put in Becky's voice, which she hates, but I love playing with it.
Nope, can't fucking say that.
So I uploaded that one specifically, which I stole out of her Bandcamp confessional song. So you can actually make your own clips and put them in MP3 form only, but you can put in whatever sounds you want. If you want to add extra sounds, or if you want to do anything else like that. The email that you will be getting looks like share window clipboard. Looks like that. Which makes it easy. It's just a simple email that comes through, and it goes to the email that you signed up with, so it takes you directly in, so you don't have to worry about it going to the wrong account. Yes, I literally, to learn everything that I needed to learn on this, I literally sat on it for an entire day. Hey, Shorty. But the best way to actually get a full grasp on it is to ask for the seat, and I'm sure OGP Swain will be happy to sit down and walk you, make a schedule to where people can have at least 2 hours with StreamYard a day to actually get in there and play with it. Please, please, please do not delete anything. If you delete the wrong thing, we're going to end up having to rebuild it from scratch, and that's horrible. So other than that, I'm sure that, we can, if you need help with it, or if you need someone to sit down with you while you're doing it, drop me a line on Facebook, and I will be more than happy to join you and help you out if you need it. And of course, you would have the seat, and I would just come in and be like, okay, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and this is how you do it. And then I can walk you through and be able to get you through it. The only other person who has the seat, because there's 2 seats, but there is one primary seat which only OGP has, and he does not give that out. And then there's a secondary seat that he can give out as he needs to. And then that would enable you to be able to come in and set up your stream. If you need help setting up a stream, drop me a line, show me what you're looking at, and I can help you through getting it done. Once you've gotten comfortable getting it set up, then you won't need me. I think that's the end goal, isn't it?
It sounds like it. It's always better if we can do it ourselves and without the extra help.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's always nice to be able to have people who run their own streams, so that you're not having one person doing all the work, and everybody else is just sitting around going, hey.
Right.
I know Clayton wants to get in here and do the same thing. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like there will be 2 seats he can give out, which will be better. Because if we start having problems with the stream, then one person who has a better internet or is not having issues with their computer, because computer issues can be a definite problem there, If you have a slow computer, this is not something you want to try with that. I was able to do it with a 6-core processor that was running at 3.3 gigahertz, but you really want something newer that is running anywhere between 3.6 to 4 to get a seamless stream. If you have a slower computer, it's definitely going to have issues. It's going to be, skipping. Quad core is the slowest that I've been able to successfully run a stream, but I have not been able to run it on a quad core out at the Weatherford house because literally we're running off of 5G network out there, and because that's all we've got out there. We're so far out in the boonies, they don't even supply DSL. Um, you got anything to add, OGP? He's typing. I know he put branding in the stream, but we're only allowed 10 brands and we're all out. Yes, you are. Once you get the invite, it literally sends you straight in. It'll say you have joined this team, and once you've joined the team, then it allows you to come in as host and not as guest. If you've ever looked at your screen while you're logging in, it'll show your name and it says guest right next to it in a little gray little box. But when you actually have host, it says your name and then host. And as a host, you're able to come in early. Please try to reserve at least an hour before your show. If there's a show directly in front of yours, then you need to grab it sometime during the day and be able to come in during the day and set it up. And once you get it set up during the day, then you can get it all set it up under its own stream, get it scheduled. Once it's scheduled, then nobody else is going to touch it because that's your show and it's going to be on the main page. You have your first 3 primary ones where you set up the stream, and then underneath that, it shows you the scheduled ones, and then you can click on your schedule one, and it will bring you into that stream, and everything will already be set up for you, hopefully. I mainly use ChatGPT to set up the pictures, the background pictures, and things like that. Gemini, Copilot, both of those do just as well. So if you want to use either of those, you're welcome to use whatever AI you want to, and you just tell it, create me a flyer from this information. Hey, how about that? Everybody got a free battle card for attending.
Nice. Thank you.
Definitely incentive. That's no problem.
Well, Omega Knight, you can see me in the next Fantasy Fiction Live. I'm using it already.
Did your dad not tell you?
Yeah, he told me. I know I'm gonna be in the next one, but I'm not gonna be part of it technically. But
Yeah, and I have to talk to Moses about that too, because even if you do enter, you're the only one. We have not gotten anybody interested in that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So we were actually going to talk to Moses and see if he wanted to postpone it until the following Saturday. So you might want to hang on to that battle card.
Yeah, I did let him know. I told him what you told me, and he was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about it still.
Yeah, unfortunately, if it doesn't come to pass, we're gonna have, if we don't get at least 4 people interested in fantasy fiction live, we're gonna have to postpone the event until next week, which is sad because we enjoy doing those.
Yeah, I've had a fun time every time I've been on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and like you see me doing right here, I'm engaging with everybody who's typing to me, as well as interacting with the different people. And that's a really big part of showmanship and being part of the show and not just, oh, I'm reading from a script. I'm not, and that's all I'm going to do. And yes, ma'am, it was. And not interacting with your guests, not interacting or, making it fun for the people to be there. Rebecca always makes them fun. I don't know how she does it, but she always makes the streams fun. And we joke back and forth. And that's kind of our shtick. We like to joke back and forth. We do it in real life. We do it on the streams, and it engages the people to where they really have fun with the streams. And the main thing is that you really don't want to ignore your chat, and a lot of people do in the podcasts and in the streams and everything. I have seen some of our hosts actually really get into talking to the people that are attending. If you don't engage with those people, those are the people we're here for. We're not here for each other. Though we are. Let me rephrase that. Back that up. So we're here for each other, but we're mainly here for the people who attend on YouTube, so that we can sit there and we can talk to them. We can hang out with them and have fun with them. And it's not just about getting our music out there, but it's also about entertaining our fan base. And without our fan base, we would be nothing. Exactly. I'm trying to remember who Shorty is. I think that's Goddess Sunflower.
Yeah, I agree. I try to myself kind of split it up halfway, between their, the panel plus the YouTube. Um, I know that I found that when I'm hosting a show, though, that's a lot of difficulty. There's a lot of difficulty there to keep up with both ends. Um, I'm sure as time goes by, it will get a little easier, but yeah,
I will
it's
be honest with you. I like having a co-host for that specific reason because while I'm dealing with the stream and making sure that everybody gets seen and heard, that gives Rebecca, Scarlett, whichever name you want to go by, gives her a chance to engage with the audience and the people who are there. And I still do engage with the people who are there in the audience, but not as much as she does. And that's why I have a co-host, because the co-host makes it so much easier if you've got one person run the back end and occasionally throwing in a comment here and there. It's a lot better when you have somebody who can fully engage with those people. So it's always great when you have a co-host.
that makes sense.
And I honestly think that, that should be something that we do, is that we have our host who runs the back, or, host or co-host that runs the back end. And then you have your host who engages with the public, with the guests, and is the main driving force behind the show, i.e. Rebecca. She doesn't know how to run any of this, so she leaves it to me. And that's why I'm the co-host. That's also why I'm OGP's co-host most of the time, because I'm always in the back end running everything for him. Which is why I got chosen for this honor, because he sees how I have become very accustomed to the StreamYard, and it makes it easier on me because I know what really needs to do and what needs to be done to get the stream set up. And there's been a couple of times where I've been sitting there and trying to get everybody's stuff in and then load it up for the next day. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do this with everything we got going on. So I literally spend 2, 3 hours on the StreamYard trying to get everything in. And one thing that Moses mentioned to me is the main thing that you really need to remember is do not set up your stream and set the schedule more than 6 hours ahead of your time slot, because if you do, people might forget. Sometimes YouTube forgets and doesn't actually put the stream up and does not remind people that the stream is starting. So if you set it anywhere between 2 and 6 hours ahead of time, the major outside that I would go is 8 hours, and that would allow for you to be able to have the stream notify people. You don't want to set it up 24 hours or 36 hours ahead of time, because at that point, then YouTube has a bad habit of not notifying people when it is about to go live. And that's a YouTube thing, not a StreamYard thing. But that's why we choose, anywhere between 6 and 8 hours. Anything over that, you really don't want to do it. And since Sunflower got here a little late, I am going to show her that one thing that we did earlier. When you're setting up, I know this looks really weird, but when you're setting up your streams, this is where you do it. And you want to select one stream, fill out all your information through here, and then you put your thumbnail here. And like I said, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini, you can use Copilot by Microsoft, any of your AI image generators, and you can generate a thumbnail from the flyer that OGP makes. And then you can make sure, the one thing you got to make sure is that that file is below 2 megabytes to make the thumbnail. So then you can upload it here, and then you come down here. I made this as educational, but usually we leave it in entertainment. And then you schedule for later by clicking this box here, and then you set it up down here for the time that you want to do it, and you click Save Changes. Before you click Save Changes, before you click Save Changes, come back up here and select all 6 of these. These 5 here and the Twitch. Once you do that, you go back down to the bottom and hit Save Changes, and they will auto-populate all the way up here. I don't think I mentioned the 2 megabyte limit prior the last time, but yeah, your thumbnail has to be below 2 megabytes. StreamYard won't allow anything bigger. And I'm not even sure if it's StreamYard, or maybe it's YouTube that has that requirement, but either way, if you upload one that's even 2.01 megabytes, it'll kick it back. Any other questions from YouTube or from my guests?
I think you've answered all of my questions.
Good.
It's been pretty informative.
Yeah. I don't know if OGP can add more brands, but if he does, then we'll be able to add more of them on that. And then, of course, improving the quality of the show is to make sure you've got everything numbered, have your stream set up, and have all the songs that you're going to be having for that night. Rebecca always chooses the order by, like, let's say the Envy or Chrissy come on the show, she's going to put them first, because for them at 9 o'clock at night, for us, is literally, I know Chrissy is +1 GMT, so that's 6 hours from us, so that's 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that, 3 o'clock in the morning. So, we don't wanna keep them up too late, so we try to get them on first and off so they can go ahead and go, sign off and go to bed. But, always have your list of songs numbered, and then when you're uploading them, you can rename them, media assets. So, let's say that you have one that you're wanting to do. Oh, wrong area. You can collapse that too once you're on live so that you're not having to look at it constantly, but you can rename it. And then what I usually do is I put a 1 besides the first one, and then I save that so that each one, I'm not even showing you all this. Feel like an idiot now. So when you're in your video files, if you upload it as just the name of the song or who's singing it, you can come in here and rename it in StreamYard specifically. So I usually put a 1 next to it, show that, that's number 1. And then you organize them in that order so that you don't have to change it up any. Have a good night, or have a good day, Moses. Will do. So what you're trying to do is that you're trying to make sure that everything's in order, so you're not having to stop midstream and go, what song did you send in? That's not exactly professional. And I know that I've had a couple of streams where I've had the last minute that I've added all these different people and not gotten a song from them until literally the last second. And when I do that, of course, that's it makes it look weird.
I think when it comes to like setting up the stream with the audio files and everything, my biggest problem personally with all of that is I'm not familiar with everybody's Facebook name
Mhm.
versus their stage name, and so there can be some confusion of whose track is this, because I've got it labeled in the stream for my setup as who sent it to me, because I'm not really familiar with what their stage name is.
Right. And that's why when we ask for people to send us songs, we really appreciate it when they put the name, the artist name, the song name within the body of the email. That way we can go through and we can add that to the song when it comes up. So like, let's say Nova sends me a song and it comes from jackguinness@gmail.com. I have no idea who that is. So I'm sitting there and I've got a song, but I have no clue who it is.
I started putting in my artist name because you guys said something.
Yeah.
So I normally have my artist name in now.
Yeah, I wasn't picking on you. I was just,
I know. You were just giving an example.
Yeah, I was using you as an example. But that's the main reason that why we do that is because it's not that we don't know every name, but quite honestly, we don't know every name. Like James said, or Jim said, there's going to be people who we don't know within the group, and we are getting new members every day. So it really becomes an issue because let's say that, John Doe decides to join the group and, we've already got a John Doe. Now we've got 2 John Does. Which John Doe are you? So it becomes an issue because we might think, oh, it's John Doe. Yeah, he's been on the show before. And then we put in John Doe, and now we're putting the wrong artist to the song. So it makes us look silly. And then there's the time where you're going to have both John Does in the group or in the stream. So now you've got to figure out which John Doe is this. You know, is it John Doe A or John Doe B? So we always want to try and make sure that we have not just the song name, but we need to have the artist name as well. Do we have any other questions? Trying to think of anything else that might come in handy. Yeah, I was looking up Banshee sounds to add for Halloween for the sounds, and that's why your question was really, really great, Nova. You know, I got one myself yesterday. The only problem is I haven't got it fully set up yet. I got a Dell 5510 so I can run the stream off of it. It's got a really nice 2.3 gigahertz. It's a laptop.
That's what I run.
My desktop is 5500 and has a 3.6 gigahertz 6-core. It's what I try to run everything off of because it's a lot easier on me. Not to mention the fact that it can handle it pretty well. You asked that earlier. I'm so sorry. I meant to respond to that. From my knowledge, there is no way to set up a live poll within the stream. Yes, there is. Right there, under widgets.
Yeah, I was going to tell you. I thought I seen it somewhere under something. Yeah, polls under
Yeah.
widgets.
So absolutely, you can. You just click not a live poll, and you can add as many options as you want. So yes, you absolutely can. And you can do this. You have a QR code you want to share to where people can go directly to your Spotify or anything like that. You can go ahead and do that. I thought I'd look, it's a really good question. I forgot all about that. One thing that I did not mention that was brought up. Now, this may not happen. This may happen. It's very rare, but every once in a while, you will get somebody who gives you a Instagram key, and you need to go over to their Instagram and choose their Instagram. Once you choose their Instagram, it'll ask for a key. You type in that key and it will take you to their Instagram. You have to allow for it, and it will come back to here. And you can set that up right before the stream airs because you may not get that key from them until that moment. So that's a really weird one that comes up. If they do not have their Instagram already programmed into StreamYard, it is not possible. You can't do it. They have to have it set up at least 24 hours in advance. And when you add your YouTube, so you come down here to where it says add new destination. You can, yep, you can see it. Okay, so you add a new destination, you check YouTube, and then you can select whichever one. When you select it, it'll go through the process of adding it. If you have not streamed from your YouTube before, they have a 24-hour waiting period that you have to wait on. Once that 24-hour waiting period is over, you can then use it. So you need to add it 24 hours before your show, or add it right before your show, and then you're going to have to wait until your next show to be able to use it. I know this because that's what happened with mine. I had to wait 24 hours before I could use it, and that meant that I was able to add it Monday, couldn't use it until Saturday. As far as adding and removing people, I know I mentioned it earlier, but for the latecomers, you can add or remove people. Like if you have a screen that you want to show, but you're not going to be showing it till later in the show, you can remove it from the screen, and then you can add it back to the stage/screen whenever it's time to show it, so that you can just pop them in. That's that. It's pretty simple. If somebody accidentally gets disconnected and reconnects, they will pop up here, and in your headphones or over your speakers, you will hear a little pop noise, and that pop noise means that somebody has joined the live to be able to be put onto the stage to be able to be seen. Don't ever add OGP. He will remove himself almost immediately. I've done that a couple of times just to mess with him. And every once in a while, he will come in, and he will be running the back end as well. That is not a direct statement of that he doesn't think you know what you're doing. That is he's always involved, he's always doing things, and he's coming in to help you out. It's not specifically that he doesn't think you're doing a great job. It's just that he is always in there helping people out. He comes in on my stream still at least twice a week. I think we're good. I will be back tomorrow. We'll do the same thing all over again. Hopefully it'll go a lot smoother because I'll actually have a script this time. I was busy with husbandly duties for the last 2 days, helping my wife set up her classroom, so I didn't have time to sit down and write out a script. Does anyone have any questions? I know James and Novastar are good, but mainly the chat. Does anybody in the chat have any questions? And I think as far as the poll is concerned, the live poll, it's only for people who are on the stream, because you won't be able to click on the poll when, it's streaming to YouTube. You won't be able to click on the poll from YouTube, but the poll will definitely be able to, where the people who are on the stream can actually select the poll. No problem. Glad I can help everybody out. You good to go, Jim?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Nova?
Yeah, I got no more questions. I could only come up with one question that I could think
Okay.
of.
Go for it.
No, I already asked the question earlier.
Oh, okay. The only other thing I can think of off the top of my head is that when you are playing from a YouTube page and it's streaming from the YouTube page, make sure that you either close your um, your share page right down here at the bottom. If you don't close this out at the end of the song will either jump into an ad, jump into the next video that's cute, that YouTube has decided is good for you. If you don't close it out immediately, you're going to be listening to the next thing on YouTube. So you just click the X, and once you click the X, it disappears. Then you got to run over to the applause button and hit applause. It's not as easy as it looks. It's not easy as it sounds. It is a lot more difficult. You can ask Jim that sometimes you don't even have time to talk because you are getting the songs in order. They got out of order. Somebody's popped in. Whatever is going on in the background that not a lot of people see because they haven't done it yet. But once you've done it, I'm going to say 4 times, it's going to be pretty much a lot easier. You're not going to have as much problem with it. You're going to actually have fun with it. And it becomes enjoyable, something you actually look forward to instead of dreading.
Yeah, you're right. We got a lot going on in the background when we're running these shows. It's difficult to stay in the chat, stay with the group that's on the show, and still hit that applause button and answer those private chats and everything
Yep.
all at once. It's real difficult to stay on task.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that you got to jump up to the comments every once in a while and pop up the comment, press the comment. Let leave it up. I usually count to 5 and then I'd make it disappear. That way, people have a chance to read it. If it's a long one, I'll count to 10, then disappear it.
I've been basically when I pop them up, I read it, and then when I'm done reading it, I remove it.
Yeah. I do that with some, but I read fast, so I try to count an extra 2 seconds afterwards. But either way, you pop it up, and that's only if you're not going to have the one where it shows up on the side. And that's in the comments as well. It's up at the top above the comments itself. It actually has a little slider bar. You can select that on, and then just, never look at it again. But yeah, on the YouTube one, when you share the tab, it's great. But the only problem is that if you don't get it closed out in time, or you close it out too early, you cut off the person's song. If you close it out too late, then you go into either an ad or you go into the next music video, and it may not be anything that you want somebody else to hear. Especially on, a show that's specifically heavy metal and you've been listening to country all day, so it decides the next song you want to hear is country. That's my problem. I'm always sitting there listening to AI podcasts, so next thing that pop up is going to be some type of AI story. But let's see. You do have your notes, so if you want to type out a script on your computer and notepad or something, you can easily copy that notepad and then paste it into the teleprompter and it will literally pop up a little teleprompter to give you the ability to sit there, and it will be only on your side, but it will play to where it sits there and it streams it across the top of the, overlay above the screen. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here you've got your notes over to the side. So when you pop it up, and then you just come over here and hit play, and it's like a teleprompter. So that works out kind of well. But if you want to just, you can also have it up like I do right now, and you can just read the bullet points, and then you've got that to read from. Other than that, I haven't really played around with people yet. Oh, okay. As you can see with mine, where it says host, that's exactly how it's going to come up when you log in. When you've gotten the seat, it'll automatically come up and it'll say host, and then you've got guest and guest. So all your guests will be listed. So if you've got like you and the co-host is going to come up as guest, but your host will always be the person who's running the back end. So they're the ones who is actually hosting the stream. They're the ones who's setting up the stream. They're the ones who has this entire screen that you see in front of you on there, and they're the only ones who are going to be able to interact with the buttons to the right. Your guests are literally just that. They're guests on the stream. Even if they are a host or a co-host, that person cannot interact with that if they are labeled as a guest. And then, of course, you got your private chat, which everybody's really familiar with because everybody is able to do it. So I think we've gone an hour and 15 minutes. I think we got a really good class in today. So I'm going to be ending the stream here in a couple of seconds. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to either me or Moses or even Larry Genoe, because he's the person who trained me. So he knows just as much as I do. But I'm pretty sure he knows more than I do. I just got chosen because he has work and I don't. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you all for attending. Y'all have a great day. I've got everybody's name written down as Moses requested, and I'll be sending him a list of everybody who attended so that we can get one of those nice little battle cards. And I don't know if anybody's going to use them this week, but my suggestion on the battle cards is save them as much as you can, because quite honestly, they are expensive. Y'all have a good day. See you next time.